I want you to imagine holding a print of your artwork that looks just as good as the original. Something that you are proud to have hanging in somebody's home, something that you're proud to sell. I'm gonna show you how to make that a reality today without spending a fortune. I'm gonna break this down into some really simple, straightforward steps for you on how to make a fine art print. So let's get started. All right, step one is time. Really just ask yourself, what's your time worth? Everybody's time is different. Are you a full-time artist? Are you a part-time artist? Is this just really your side hustle and you're doing it in the evenings and your weekends? What is your time worth? Something to also keep in mind is that not only does printing prints take time, the actual physical process of printing them, but packaging them, signing them, all of that's going to take time as well. So printing is just a small portion out of selling reproductions. Step 2, budget. All right, so it's really important to determine what you're able to invest in. Consider to yourself, do you have a little bit more money up front or do you need to actually keep your budget down? Outsourcing can cost $15 to $30 for each gicle print, and that's going to cut into your profit margin. And is that something that you're willing to have happen? I wasn't. Okay, so now it's the fun. So now we have to digitize. Step 3 is digitizing your artwork. And this is the big thing that is easy to mess up and it's really important. Color accuracy, textures, brush strokes, all of that's really important to have translate into your reproductions from your original paintings, and you don't want to lose that. Some artists choose to have their artwork photographed. That's something that I don't have a lot of experience in, so I can't speak to it. What I can share with you is how you get it scanned. So you've got a couple options. You can use an at-home scanner like what I've used right here, which is my Epson V600, and it's worked great. But the bed is really small and it can only fit my small paintings. It also takes a lot of time to scan in your artwork and make those edits and even go in and remove like the waffle texture of your canvas, which is something that I don't like to see in my prints. Okay, so let me share with you my early mistake. In the beginning, I didn't really know what I was doing. I did lots of research, and because the art community gatekeeps, I really wasn't able to find a ton of information. What I did find is that people were scanning in their artwork. So I just found a local scanning company and printing company in the city, and I took my artwork to them and I had them scan it in and I had them make prints. And there are these little cardstock, like really lightweight cardstock prints, and they look bad. To be honest, they just didn't look great. And guess what? They didn't sell. Big surprise there. All right, so that was my mistake. So what worked? I found a scanning and printing specialist for artwork. That was the key. They have a huge flatbed scanner. I pack all of my artwork up into my vehicle. I drive it there. I take it to her, leave it for a week. She scans it all in. She color corrects. She works on the texture, makes it beautiful, sends me my files, and now I have my artwork digitized. Now I have these beautiful files digitized because I've chosen to go with a printing and scanning specialist. When it came to finding my scanner, I ended up just finding them through Google. But another great way is to find artists in your community by doing art fairs and other art events and connect with them and see what they're doing. One thing for me to learn how to make my prints is that I started asking artists when I went to art fairs and asked them who does their prints. And then I sought out those people and tried to figure out what they did. So definitely finding that community is really important. But when you're starting out, it's really hard because you don't know anybody. So it's hard. Step 4, editing. My scanner, that's what I'm gonna call her. My scanner. My scanning and printing specialist does a fantastic job editing my scans to look like the originals. However, every printer is different and the color profiles are different, which means that the colors are gonna look different when you print it at home. So once I get my scans in, I pull them up into my computer and she sends me JPEGs and TIFF files. So I always edit my TIFF file because those are the highest quality file. I pull them to Photoshop and I go through and I check them. I make sure that there's no stray hairs on the digitized scan because she does have dogs in there with her, and so sometimes that happens. Then just print it. And then I take that default print and I compare it to the original painting. Usually I have to saturate my colors a little bit more because when you take your original artwork to the scanner, this is so important and I don't want to forget to tell you this, don't varnish it first. If you varnish it, it puts a glare on it. It can cause issues with the scanning process because that light hits it, it reflects, and it washes out your painting. So don't varnish it. But what that means is that your artwork is more saturated and looks so much more beautiful when you have the varnish on it. So when you go to print your digitized artwork, it's not gonna look as saturated. So sometimes you have to make adjustments to match what the varnished artwork is gonna look like. So usually I have to adjust my saturation, and sometimes I have to tinker with my blues and my purples because those are hues that I tend to notice don't always print as accurately as I would like. The goal is that we're making reproductions that look like our originals. So these extra steps are really important to make sure that your reproductions look like your originals. Step 5 is the printer. This is probably what you've been waiting for, right? Like, what printer do you use? There's so many out there, and I'm not gonna tell you what to use because everybody's a little bit different, but I will start out with sharing with you what I have. 2 things to consider is Epson and Canon are like the top 2 printer companies from what I have learned in my research for printing your reproductions. I opted not to go with Epson because I learned that in my research that Epsons are known for jamming and just being kind of frustrating in that aspect. I have a pretty low threshold for that kind of stuff, so I knew I needed to get a different kind of printer that had less jamming issues. So I went with a Canon Pro 300. That was the angels singing. So I went with the Canon Pro 300 and it was fantastic. And I would have 6 months ago have sang this printer's glory and told everybody to get one. But then I got this error code that said contact Canon because my maintenance cartridge was full. Turns out the Pro 300 has a maintenance cartridge that can't be swapped out. So basically when it gets full, your printer has an end of life. Canon tells you there's nothing we can do about it. You need to get a new printer, which is a huge problem. I found a workaround on this, which has allowed me to continue using my printer. So if that's something you're interested in, please let me know in the comments below and I can make a video on what I did to solve that little problem. I know, can you believe it though? Okay, so as frustrating as that was with the Canon, I went and researched Epsons again and again found all the same information that these were frustrating, they jammed all the time, there are problems. I've talked to other artists and they don't have this problem, but look into this yourself. I ended up going with the Canon Pro 1100 because it has a maintenance cartridge that you can change out. And trust me, it was totally worth it. This printer is bigger, it's badder, it's heavier, everything. The prints are still gorgeous. I'm using it to now print canvas prints, which again, that's something you're interested in. I don't know a ton about it yet, but I'm happy to share what I've learned and let me know if you would like a video in this series about canvas prints. But the Canon Pro 1100 is what I'm using now, and now I actually run both of them so I can print prints quicker. That way I can be more efficient with my printing process since it does take a lot of time since I do art fairs and have to have a bulk supply at any given moment. Okay, most important thing about printers is when you're doing your research, make sure that your ink is pigment-based. There are 2 types of ink, pigment-based and dye-based. Pigment-based inks are archival quality. They are what you want. Canon has their line and it's their Lucia Pro line. And so the Pro 300 and the Pro 1100 both have ink that's labeled with that. And that's how I know that that is archival ink. One other thing here. I'm working on this series because I want to share with you what I've learned. The mistakes I've learned, the money I've wasted, and the tricks I've learned along the way. I want to share that with you, which is why I've created this series. So make sure you click that notification bell if you want to hear more about this. I'd also like to chat with you about my decorative prints. That's something that I want to share with you in another video. So make sure you hit that bell. Step 6 is the print. It's paper. Really, let's just talk paper. We have scanned in our artwork and gotten it digitized. We've edited it. It's been edited so it looks pristine. We have our printer and we are all ready to go. Now what? Well, you need the paper. Everybody's a little bit different on this, but since we are talking about fine art, archival quality prints, so these are your giclée prints. These are prints that are more UV resistant and they are going to last a lifetime. They're museum quality. So since we're talking archival prints, we want to make sure we have archival paper. We want it to be fade resistant. Have you ever gotten artwork that you hang up and it's sitting in a sunny area and the next thing you know, it's all faded and you're bummed out about it? I don't want to sell artwork like that, and I know you don't want to either, which is why you're here. So my paper, I get a 100% cotton rag. I like the cold press because I like the texture. It is a museum quality and archival. So just make sure that's what you're buying when you're looking into it. Also check the specs on the paper and what the Canon printer or your Epson printer can handle. Every printer is a little bit different on how the rollers can accept that thickness. My Canon can't do the thick paper on the top feed, but it can on the manual feed. So just look into that. Also with printers, if you want to be able to accept rolls versus sheets of paper, look into that. But here's the thing too, you have your artwork digitized, so you always still have the option at any point to outsource your artwork, which is something I might even do one day, because to be very honest, I spend weeks printing and preparing prints for an art fair that's coming up. And it takes a lot of my time, and it takes away from my time to create. So I also have what's called decorative prints. And these are prints that are printed on cardstock. They're not archival, which means that they could fade in the sun. But there's something that I offer for a customer that has a lower budget. And they're fun kind of throwaway prints. So it's maybe you're just decorating a bathroom for a while or a kid's room for just a few years, and it's something that you don't really need to last a really long time and you want to invest less money in. Decorative prints are a great way to go. It's also really affordable, and you can print each print for less than $1, which is phenomenal. That's something I'll share with you in this series. If it's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Final step is the packaging. So packaging is so important because it protects your artwork when you're shipping it and when you're transporting it if you're going to art fairs and events. But packaging also is such a great opportunity to make your artwork just stand out and look beautiful. I use crystal clear cellophane bags, I use a backing board, and I even print off these certificate of reproductions that go in each of my prints. I opt not to put my business cards in the back because I usually just hand those out anyways, or people already pick them up, and that way I don't spend as much money on business cards. For each print, I do sign and title it. That is my decision that I make, and again, I'm selling fine art archival prints. I think that they should be signed and titled. I'm also starting to offer limited edition prints, so they all get numbered as well. I keep track of my limited edition prints in a handy template that I made in Notion, and again, if that's something you're interested in, I'm gonna make a video on how I do my limited edition prints and why I do my limited edition print. Pro tip, add barcodes to the back of your prints to speed up your checkout process at in-person events and art fairs. It makes a world of difference. You process everybody so much faster. You don't end up with a huge line with people being frustrated, and it creates less stress for you checking everybody out because you have happier customers. I use Shopify's barcode creator and printing system, and it's fantastic. All right, well, that's it. That's all I've got for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this. I actually haven't made a YouTube video in probably almost a year, I think. So I'm excited to be back. I'm learning a lot of new things. I'm wanting to do things a little bit different. So let me know in the comments. What did you like? What do you want to see more of? Is it too long? Shorten it up. Stop yapping about everything so much. Show me cool shit. I don't know. Let me know. I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear from you. I hope that you stick around, and I hope that you subscribe and help me grow my channel. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.